Hi everybody, I'm Colton with Promolife, and today we're going to be setting up the Comprehensive Ozone Package. This package includes the O3 lead dual ozone generator, a 500 ml water bubble humidifier combo with a destruct system and 3 feet of silicone tubing, a 200 ml oil bubbler with a nasal cannula, silicone cups, a full body ozone bag, multi-chambered bags and catheters, 60 ml syringes, and a Teflon Earscope. Included with your generator, you'll have two 5-foot sections of silicone tubing, one of which will have additional fittings with it. You will also have a 5-foot section of oxygen tubing. Before setting up the equipment, please note that I already have an industrial oxygen tank regulator on my tank. One of these is not included in your package, but you will need one in order to do the setup. If you have not set up your oxygen source or regulator, please watch our video on how to set that up first. Now, I'll show you exactly how to set up your system. To begin this setup, first we will need to plug in our ozone generator. We recommend you plug it directly to an outlet. Now you're going to plug the other end of the power cord to the back of the ozone generator right here. Now I'll take off the dust caps from the oxygen in and ozone out ports. These are really nice for if you're storing the generator long term, just to help keep debris from entering the generator. Now you're going to take your 5-foot section of oxygen tubing, using the end that has nothing on it, and attach it here on the oxygen tank regulator. You want to push it at least past the first or second ridge on the barb connector. With that attached, you'll take the opposite end of the tube with the lure lock and screw it directly onto your oxygen input on the back of the unit. Once you feel resistance, stop there. You don't want to over tighten the connector. Now, we'll move on to setting up our water bubbler humidifier combo. To begin the setup for your water bubbler humidifier combo, which includes a 500 milliliter flask, plexiglass stand, and humidifier stem, we also need the ozone destruct system with its included 3-foot section of silicone tubing. You're going to want to fill the flask with preferably distilled or filtered water. Next, take your stem, which is very fragile, so be very careful while you handle it, and simply place it into the flask, which can now be placed into the stand. Now, take your 5-foot section of silicone tubing with the check valve attached that had the additional fittings with it. The additional fittings and dust caps are just spares, so we won't need them for the setup. And the check valve's main purpose is to help prevent backflow of fluids into the generator. You're now going to take the end of the tubing that has the fitting on it and put it onto the ozone out port, just like we did with the oxygen in port. Now, we will attach the other end of this tubing to the top section of tubing coming off of the stem. Now we'll take the 3-foot section that was included with your ozone destruct system and attach one end to the bottom section of tubing coming off of the stem. We can now take the other end and attach it to the ozone destruct system, like so. You'll want to make sure that the off valve is facing this direction. Now that we have the water bubbler set up, we'll move on to the Ozone Earscope. To set up the Earscope, we will need the Earscope itself, as well as the additional piece of silicone tubing that was included with your generator. We'll first take that tubing section that was included with the generator and attach one end to this fitting on the 3-way valve of the destruct system. Now, we will take the other end of this tubing and attach it to the fitting on the end of the Earscope. You're now ready to make ozonated water or perform humidified insufflations. Now I'll go over how to set up the multi-chambered bags and catheters. The multi-chambered bag does not require any preemptive setup. However, before filling the bag for use, always make sure that the clamp is open. Now, when you're ready to fill the bag, you'll simply attach it directly to the ozone out port. Once the bag is at the volume you want to use, you'll take the bag off, close the clamp, and attach the catheter to the same fitting on the end of the bag's tubing. Now, we'll go over the 60 ml syringe. The 60 ml syringe will also have no preemptive setup and can be used not only for insufflations, but cleaning catheters as well. To fill the 60 ml syringe for use, you'll simply attach it directly to the ozone out port of the generator. Once full, you will disconnect. Now, let's move on to the last 3 accessories in your package: the ozonide breathing oil bubbler, silicone cups, and the full body ozone bag. To begin setting up the 200 ml ozonide breathing oil bubbler, which includes the 200 ml flask, stem, stand, and nasal cannula, you'll first add olive oil into your flask. Next, you'll take your stem, which is very fragile, so be very careful when you handle it, and simply place it into the flask, which can then be placed into the stand. Now, we'll take the 5-foot segment of silicone tubing with the check valve connector set that is included with the generator and connect this end that has a fitting to the ozone out port of the generator. We will then take the other end of this tube and attach it to the top segment of tubing on the stem. Now, you can attach the nasal cannula to the bottom segment of tubing on the stem. Now that the oil bubbler is ready, let's move on to the silicone cups. I'll be using the larger of the two cups that are included with your package, but the setup for either of them will be the same. To begin, we'll take the 5-foot segment of tubing with the check valve connector set that was included with the generator and connect this end with a fitting to the ozone output of the generator. We will then take the other end of this tube and attach it to the fitting on the side of the ozone cup here. With the cup set up, we can move on to the final accessory in this package, the full body ozone bag. Before setting up the full body ozone bag, you'll want to lay it out completely flat before attaching the tubing. Once that's done, we can then take the 5-foot section of silicone tubing with the check valve connector set and connect this end that has a fitting onto the ozone output of the generator. We can now take the other end of this tube and attach it to the fitting on the small segment of tubing coming off of the full body ozone bag. And that's how you set up the full body ozone bag. For more information on the specific operation of the accessories in this package, please watch the videos we have for each of the individual accessories. Those will be linked in the description below. For more information on guidelines and settings for the different therapies, please refer to the ozone setup guide that was included with your package. Thanks for watching. Check out our other YouTube videos for more information and be sure to follow us on social media. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell for future videos.